Most people would agree that good nutrition is the foundation of good health. But how nutritious is the food we consume every day? An increasing number of health experts suggest that we should be concerned about what's not in much of our food. The missing ingredient, we're told, is nutrition. Could it be that everyday foods lack the nutrition we require to sustain good health?
Many diseases over the years that have been striking us down have been metabolic in origin, nutritional deficiency diseases that have been misinterpreted by our drug-driven establishment as being something completely different, in many cases infectious. This is simply not the case. Overwhelmingly, the diseases that are striking us down are metabolic in origin, coupled in many cases with a toxin-related factor. So nutritional deficiency over a period of time, and it is cumulative, if you're taking in inadequate minerals, your body does not have the raw materials necessary to maintain its health. If you start looking at the main killers in our society today, coronary heart disease, cancer, diabetes, osteoporosis, these diseases are all linked to nutrition. I defy any proper trained doctor or nutritionist to deny that. Of course, we hear about people who supposedly have great diets, that are eating all the right things and doing all the right things, and they still contract nutritional deficiency problems. The simple fact is, and we've known this for 60 to 70 years, that our food chain is depleted of minerals because of over-farming. Senate Document 264 pointed this out in the 1930s and stated that if we did nothing to redress the mineral imbalance in the foods that we were taking in, specifically fruits and vegetables, then mankind could expect to be afflicted with nutritional deficiency problems. Today, of course, we have over 160 nutritional deficiency problems that are striking us down as a result of this. Now, nutritional deficiency is an absolute scandal in a civilization that prides itself on being able to supply a proper food system to its people. So it's absolutely vital, until this issue is redressed, that people do have some form of effective mineral and antioxidant supplementation. There's a certain amount of controversy over the type of mineral supplementation. In other words, chelated minerals, metallic minerals, colloidal minerals, and so on. Our research has shown unequivocally that colloidal minerals, when coupled with natural chelators like fulvic acid, have a huge absorption into the body. They are very bioavailable. So people would do well to start looking in the direction of colloidal minerals with natural chelators like fulvic acid. Antioxidants are absolutely vital, warding off the ravages of oxidation elements, sometimes known as free radicals, that are afflicting us because of burnt or fried foods, pollution, many other toxic causations that are bringing these oxygen molecules into our body that stabilize themselves, creating damaging effects by robbing oxygen from healthy tissues. The body is a very intricate self-repairing mechanism. Once we understand that the body has systems that need to be fortified with proper raw materials, then it simply makes sense to put the proper raw materials into the body. You wouldn't think of going out and buying a very expensive motor car and then running it on extremely low-grade, poor gasoline. And yet in many cases we know more about our cars than we do about our own bodies. So it's important for us to understand that our bodies rely and make cell structure from the raw materials that are put into them. So people need to understand that their bodies need proper nutrition, and they need to make sure that this is adequately provided for.
Even the fittest individuals need good nutrition. Peter Robertson competes in international triathlons and is currently world champion.
My training is pretty demanding. I train 7 days a week, on average about 5 hours a day. An average day would consist of a swim in the morning at 5 o'clock for a couple of hours, anywhere between 5 to 8 kilometres. Come home, might have a quick snooze for an hour or so, and then get out on the bike and ride anywhere between 50 and 120 kilometres. I come home, and then in the afternoon or late afternoon I might go out and run, anywhere between 8 and 12 kilometres. So it's pretty demanding, but I love doing it. For me as an athlete, I really have to take good care of myself physically, and not only just through training but also through my diet. But these days you can't always get enough nutrients out of the food. So I take vitamins and minerals to supplement that. I take an iron supplement. I take ones for my energy, ones for sickness and antioxidant. So quite a broad brace of vitamins. I believe nutritional supplements are for everyone, not just elite sports people. I encourage my family and friends to use them as well. I believe that these days the nutritional value has dropped in everyday food. So to get the nutrients these days, we need to take extra things. We need to take supplements. That's why I believe everyone should be taking them. I know that once I finish my sporting career, I'll continue to take them because I also want to live to a nice old age as well.
At Newcastle University's Department of Biological and Chemical Sciences, research has revealed how supplementation can sustain health.
Our bodies get challenged with infectious agents, bacteria and viruses, or toxic loads from the environment. And when they get such a challenge, our bodies need to mount a specific response. And that response often requires additional nutrients, antioxidants, vitamins, to help sustain the cells that are in there doing the things that they need to do to help the body remain healthy. You can avoid getting colds, you can perform much better at work, you can lift your capacity to perform in sports and basically enjoy a much healthier lifestyle.
Kirsty Holmes is 2 times Australian Ironwoman champion. Kirsty believes that supplementation isn't just for elite athletes.
Being an elite athlete, we're putting our bodies through physical demand, and the supplementation helps us in training, but I think we're at the extreme level of physical output with our bodies, but the average person, I think it's very important for them to be using supplementation for their general well-being. You know, you don't put junk fuel into a Ferrari, and I think we really should be treating our bodies like Ferraris and putting optimal fuel in our bodies in the way of supplementation, and not just, you know, a good eating plan and exercise. It was through trial and error of being sick all the time when I wasn't on any supplements that I realised that you know, you need that additional supplementation to give you the energy levels to maintain a training regime that we do. So I started taking some good quality nutritional supplements, and I immediately noticed the benefits. I had a lot more energy throughout the week of training, and I was able to back up in my training a lot more easily. Well, I think in this day and age, we're all becoming more aware of the processing that goes on with our food, and by the time it gets to our dinner table, a lot of the nutritional value of the food has been diminished. So in this day and age, you know, supplementation on top of a balanced diet is essential, I think.
Sydney Heart Image is a leading clinic that assesses patients for possible heart disease. The clinic's director is the internationally renowned cardiologist, Dr. Ross Walker.
Nutrition is a vital area in terms of preventative cardiology, and in fact, if you look at our society basically has severe atherosclerotic disease and a lot of forms of cancer as well, because of the nutrition that we have and also other environmental problems. These days we are living in a chemical world. From the second we wake up in the morning to the second we go to bed at night, we are being exposed to chemicals. All you need to do is go outside and breathe in a major city and you are taking thousands of toxic chemicals into your body. So we are being exposed to so many of these environmental chemicals from all sorts of sources, in our food, in the air, in the water, in the things we put on our body, in the things we take into our body. And what happens with these chemicals, the final common pathways, they generate these nasty particles called free radicals. Now, free radicals are chemicals that lack electrons. So they run around the body, craving stability, looking for electrons in your blood vessels or in your DNA, therefore setting you up for heart disease and cancer. So we really have to be doing 2 things. 1, reducing our exposure to these toxins, and 2, increasing our antioxidant, vitamin, mineral, trace metal regimen to cope with the toxins. If you want optimum health, if you really want to take those extra years and have them good quality years, I believe in this day and age, with all of the environmental toxins we're being exposed to, that we need extra help from supplementation.
Ian North, a patient of Dr. Walker, faced his own recent health crisis following a CT heart scan.
Well, the scan results showed that in the left descending artery I had an 80% blockage and a 40% blockage, which required heart bypass. In my case, there was no warning. There was nothing. I was going along, having a very enjoyable life, thinking I was going to live to a ripe old age. There was no sign of it, there was no pain. I slept well, I ran, I swam. So there was no indication. And then to have this CT scan taken and told that, you know, I had a chance, a very high chance of dying in 3 months, you know, was a complete surprise. Following the bypass, Dr. Walker suggested that I eat plenty of vegetables, fruit, fish, vitamins, and go for regular walks and exercise. The nutrition and the vitamins that I take that have reversed that process for me are vitamin E, vitamin C, coenzyme Q10, selenium, vitamin B group, and the benefits of those was that it prevented the system from oxidising the cholesterol, because once it's oxidised, it goes straight into the arteries. The benefit of the vitamins is that it prevents that oxidisation and carries it out through your system. Following the bypass and eating the right things, exercising, and taking the vitamin supplements, it certainly has given me a new lease of life, and I'm feeling great.
Eve Hillary is an environmental health consultant. She has a medical background and became interested in the field of environmental medicine after she herself experienced debilitating health due to a chemical exposure. Eve is an author and renowned speaker in this field.
Many of my clients are senior executives and they're constantly under stress. They do a lot of travelling and they are at very high stress levels at work with great pressures to perform. And sometimes I get a client in who has really hit the wall, and at times he's had to retire from his job as a result. And invariably we find that he is nutritional deficient. And what happens is the stress in the body requires more nutrients. And unless somebody is taking nutrient supplements with just an ordinary diet, which is depleted often in nutrients, it's not sufficient for a person in a high-stress situation to actually function effectively. So I find that after a few weeks of nutrient therapies, the person comes back revitalised, recharged, looking much younger, and feeling much better and having more energy. When we buy fruits and vegetables, if they're conventionally grown, they'll have very little nutritional substance and very few minerals. And so it's a sad fact of life that no matter how much we juggle our 3 veg on our plates, we're just not going to be getting the nutrition we require, and particularly for children who have to maintain growth and development. It's so important these days for children to have adequate nutrition because we're now living in a world with 100,000 chemicals in common use. Our children are constantly bathed in chemicals, no matter whether they're at school or whether they're at home. And so because our food is now denatured and depleted of nutrients, the child's body has really no way of processing those chemicals and maintaining its own growth and development. And so often the child has learning disabilities or other chronic illnesses which affect their quality of life and affects their growth and development. So in this world today, the best we can do for our children is not only provide them with good food, preferably organic food devoid of chemicals, but perhaps just as an added insurance to provide them with nutritional supplements so that we can be sure that they're getting what they need for normal development and health.
Dr. Mark Donovan is a leading Sydney practitioner who specialises in environmental medicine.
If we had focused on nutrition from the early years of this century, if we had really focused on what is high quality nutrition, optimising function of people, rather than what's the minimum you can get by with nutrition, what's the minimum daily requirements that if you maintain it won't allow you to get sick with a disease, that we could have created a healthy population, and that approach could have contributed years of quality life rather than have contributed nothing. We have put up with nutrition as just being what's required to get by, what's the basic fuel, how low can you go before disease starts to occur. And in eating away at our food, in processing of it, in the use of pesticides, in forgetting to keep the food clean, we've in fact contributed to health problems such as asthma, respiratory disease, degenerative disorders, arthritis, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease. We've contributed the so-called diseases of civilization because we've failed to notice that clean food, appropriate nutrition, high levels of the nutrients in the food naturally available to us are essential for normal function. If any aspect of your nutritional bank account runs out early, you are almost certain to become sickened at that period of time. It does mean that if we as doctors thought back on it and looked at nutrition as an insurance against future illness, that we would have been able to keep people well even during the times of their crises. Doing simple, low-cost things with supplements ahead of illness minimises the risk of illness and optimises outcomes for the people who take their health seriously. And so I don't think that there's anybody who does not need supplements or who does not need something to optimise their health. Can you get by with it? Yes, you can. If you're prepared to put up with premature death from cancer, if you're prepared to put up with chronic ill health, if you're prepared to put up with never really feeling well, then you can get by with those foods, but you're not going to live well. You're not going to be healthy. You're not going to be resilient, wake up in the mornings and feel energetic and like you want to keep on going, get the day done and then move on to something else. But when you go that extra step and you're after really good quality of health, then I think supplements have a very, very important part to play.
By minimising our exposure to toxic chemicals, maintaining a good diet, ideally by eating organic foods, and ensuring we include quality vitamin, mineral and antioxidant supplements, maintaining good health is clearly a choice we can make.